Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 14 Pro and compare it against the iPhone 15 and see how these two hold up in 2024 and if there's one particular phone that's better than the other one. So, we'll talk about that throughout this whole entire video. First things first, if at any point throughout this video you want to pick up either one of these particular phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular devices, you can see that both these phones are very beautiful. I like both these phones a lot. And to the average person, they may seem like about the same phone, but they're a little bit different. On the front of the iPhone 14 Pro, you can see that this particular phone is giving you a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And I like this panel a lot. I do think it is a very nice panel, and it is probably the overall better one here for sure. On the front of the 14 Pro, you're also getting a ProMotion display as well, which that in and of itself is a very, very nice thing. I love having ProMotion, and this in and of itself is a very, very cool thing that I like a lot. Like if I'm going through and buying some sort of a device, I like the fact that this particular phone is going to be giving me that type of capability, that it is going to be giving me a 120 hertz ProMotion display with a dynamic island and everything like that across the board. With the iPhone 15, it's a little bit of a different story because it's almost the same type of panel. It's an iPhone, it's a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display here as well. It's very hard to say, but it is a 60 hertz panel. So it's still a panel that gets very bright and everything like that, which is very nice. But the problem with this is that, for the most part, if you're going through and, getting some sort of a device like this, you're getting a 60 hertz panel versus a 120 hertz one. I like having 120 hertz more than 60 hertz. So keep that in mind. But for the average person, it's probably not that big of a deal for the most part, but just one of those things to keep in mind. The rest of the bodies, though, still, I think I would give it to the iPhone 14 Pro. The other thing you're going to have to keep in mind here, too, is that between both, you're getting volume up and volume down buttons, the ringer switches here, but you're getting this reflective material on the 14 Pro, which is actually very nice. And I love having this type of reflective material on the 14 Pro just because it looks so good. On the top, not much else going on. On the bottom, there's a pretty big difference. The iPhone 14 Pro, you're getting this lightning port with, standard, flat side. The 15, you're getting this USB Type-C port. I love having USB-C. It definitely is a way better feature set to have and a way better port to have than the Lightning on the iPhone 14 Pro. So this in and of itself, in my opinion, gets a massive thumbs up for me on the iPhone 15. On the backside, this is another big thing. You're getting a dual camera setup on the iPhone 15, whereas you're getting a triple camera setup on the iPhone 14 Pro with that LiDAR sensor. You're getting frosted glass backs on both phones this time, which is really nice. MagSafe capability here. The Apple logo right there too. IP certification, lots and lots of overlap here for sure. And I do like both these phones, don't get me wrong. But if I'm going to pick up one, I definitely do like the way the iPhone 14 Pro kind of feels. I feel like that is the phone that I'd look at as probably being the significantly better one, probably for almost every single person out there, just because it just feels so much better and is more premium than the iPhone 15. I feel like the 15 is good, but the 14 Pro definitely wins here, in my personal opinion. Also, in terms of the software longevity, I'm pretty sure both these phones are going to be lasting around the exact same time. They both have essentially the same type of chipset inside of both of them as well. So that right there too is like another big thing. Like if you're getting either one of these devices, you're probably not going to feel like you're missing out on too many things between each one because they're both kind of giving you the same type of experience when it kind of comes down to it. So that kind of covers it up there. Now let's go do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone 14 Pro has that Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 15 also has that Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one's the faster phone between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared in the background except for this one. 15 is here, 14 Pro is here. Let's get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Let's go and hop out of here. Music 3, 2, 1. And I'll tell you even just from hopping out of both these apps right there, it is actually very interesting how fast and how much better the performance of a ProMotion display is over a 60 hertz panel. Camera 3, 2, 1. Let's go and take a photo. Okay, let's go and hop out of here. Photos 3, 2, 1. Okay, too many pop-ups. Hopping out of here. Let's go into something else. Let's open up some of these third-party applications now. Well, we can do these ones. Files 3, 2, 1. Okay, so far, I think the 14 Pro has probably been winning here. Contacts 3, 2, 1. Okay. Again, we'll do some of these third-party applications. Let's go and try Snake vs. Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And these types of apps are not super crazy or super intensive, but they're still super fun to kind of test out. Okay, about the same thing. Let's go to Netflix 3, 2, 1. There's no internet connection here, so whatever. Thank you 3, 2, 1. Now again, one of these apps is it's interesting because they have the same type of chipset, so there shouldn't really even be massive differences. This one was very close as well, so almost the same exact thing. Hopping out of here, stack 3, 2, 1. And again, the 14 Pro was the faster one. iPhone 15 a little bit behind. Getting into some gameplay here. Let's see if there's any big differences. And I don't really think there's going to be big differences here. Hopping out of these two. Let's go and try a different one. Let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And okay, this one got into a pop-up. Very, very annoying. Very unfortunate that ended up happening. Now, this one doesn't have Wi-Fi for some reason, so that's going to be kind of a little bit of a difference. It should have been a little bit more similar here for the most part, so I wouldn't probably say this is that big of a difference here when it kind of comes down to it. You can see from this side, basically the same thing. A little bit of glitches here and there, but not that big of a deal. Let's go and try. I don't even know what other apps I have that are similar on both. I wish I had PUBG on this one or on this one, then I would have probably been able to test that one. We do have something like Genshin Impact. 3, 2, 1. We can wait until this one gets into the main loading panel and see what happens from there. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference or big deal either. You can see kind of loading into this one. There's a little bit of a difference here. So you can see with the 15, definitely loaded that one up faster. The iPhone 14 Pro, we do get into this little network error panel. So I think when it comes down to both, there's not really like massive differences. There's good stuff between both these phones. I like both these phones a lot from it. But if I'm going to pick up one, I don't know if there's necessarily one that's like significantly better than the other one. I'd probably say the 14 Pro is like slightly better, maybe, but I like the fact that the 14 Pro has a promotion display. That's the reason why I like this phone so much when it comes down to it. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. Now beyond that, when it comes down to the actual other side of these things, you can see we're getting a dual camera setup on the iPhone 15 and a triple camera setup on the iPhone 14 Pro. So this in and of itself is a very, very nice thing because both these cameras are great, but I will tell you the 14 Pro probably is the better one when it kind of comes down to it. The thing with the 14 Pro, beyond it just already being a very, very good camera that a lot of people probably already know about, this type of lens is giving you a very solid experience. Like you're getting 15x zoom here, and you're getting 0.5x zoom here with a dedicated telephoto lens, which is nice. You're getting video mode, cinematic mode, slow mode, time-lapse. Lots of cool features here. It's a very, very good camera, and if I'm going to pick up a certain type of camera, I like the fact that this one is giving me that type of capability because it is a very solid lens. The iPhone 15, on the other hand, this is also a very good camera. I don't want to give the impression this is a bad camera because this is a very good camera when it comes down to it. 10x zoom here for the most part. On the outside, 0.5x zoom. Still a very good camera. Solid lens, a solid sensor. It's a very solid lens when it comes down to it. I'm a fan of it, but I don't know if there's one that's necessarily like I don't think the 15 is better. I think the 14 Pro is probably the better camera when it comes down to it. But that's just kind of how I see the camera comparison kind of holding up. I've already done a camera comparison between these two as well. But to sum it up, what I'll definitely tell you is I think both these phones are very good. I like both these phones. I've liked them since they first came out. But I think the 15 is good for like a brand new iPhone. But I think the 14 Pro is probably the one that I'd look at as probably being the significantly better one for the average person. This is the phone that I look at as being the best one probably for every single person out there. And if I'm going to recommend a phone to people, it's probably going to be the 14 Pro. This phone's going to be giving you a better display, the same type of performance, the same type of software longevity. This phone is probably cheaper in the used market as well, which is another thing. And I feel like the build quality and everything about the 14 Pro is probably better than the iPhone 15. But the 15 is still a good phone. I think if you're in the market, then please buy it. But I think the 14 Pro is probably the better one. I'd recommend a vast majority of people to go ahead and buy. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there as well. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.